Welcome to the Flower Lounge, a place for conversations with wildly creative people and a little plant-loving wisdom to help you experience life in full bloom. I'm Katie Hess, flower alchemist and founder of LOTUSWEI, and I believe in a world where we're all living at our personal edge. Welcome to the Flower Lounge. This is the Moonshine edition with Kristina Wingeier. We were kind of trying out the weekly episodes for a while, and then we just decided to go back to monthly. However, I will say we are going to put minute markers for each week. So you'll be able to go back and find your spot each Moon Day, Monday, and find what you need for that week. Right, Kristina?
Best of both worlds. We are working with that North Node in Gemini to hold the both and frequency over here. It's good. We need to learn this. There's too much polarity. There's too much polarization. So,
Amen.
Right? Let's try to work in ways that can and do both. So yeah, it's a new thing. Although the month pivot, the month does begin on a Saturday this time. So as far as the moon day goes, we might be on a Saturn day or a Venus day when you're first hearing this episode. But yes, every week you can go back and tune in. It's August, Katie.
I can't believe it. Seriously.
It's the 8th month. It's 7 months into 2020. And I mean, I've been reflecting so much on the past 6 months because we have a full moon pretty quickly in this month. So the full moon in Aquarius. And so I've been thinking back to that new moon in Aquarius at the very end of January and how society has changed so rapidly in 6 months. And Aquarius is a lot about society and communication and technology and things like that, innovation. And yeah, just really reflecting on that. And we're still here, let's be kind. I don't know. I just feel like it's a long game, my friends. And August is really a month where we're going to start to see, but we're going to start to get some limits tested, and we're going to get to see some previews of what this fall's Mars retrograde, where those challenges might be for you. This month, we just start to get the lay of the land. That's what's in store for us. It's a big thing. It's just the truth. So,
hey, bring it on. Lay it on, right?
Bring it on. But what elixir are we working with this month to help us navigate?
You know what? It is really interesting. I am falling in love with it. It is Taiwanese azalea, and it is such a pivot from last month. It's so different. Wow.
What is the blossom color of this azalea plant?
Coral red.
Oh, so Leonine, right? Leo season.
Yeah.
Red. Okay.
And it's, last month was like tear it up Roto-Rooter down to your last, past life craziness. And this one is like creative and ideas and new ways of seeing things and eagle point of view, macro perspective. How can we, take a different look at things? Which reminds me, can we talk about, before I forget, we don't have to talk about it right now, but at some point, when you do the 6-month cycles, because recently in Flower Revolution, we were looking at we do the 6-month before and after photos, and folks are like, geez, December and January seems like 3 years ago. Can we do that? Look back 6 months, the moon cycle, when we get to the full moon? I think
Can
you
we
mentioned
look back to the new moon 6 months ago?
Yeah, when
we can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you see we're twinning everyone?
If you're listening to the audio, we have identical flower petal earrings.
These earrings I love them so much. I get so many compliments, and they're so lightweight.
Yeah.
They're big and flashy, sexy kind of flashy, flower petals, but they're so lightweight, I love them.
Yeah. And you can get them at lotuswei.com.
Yeah. So azalea. So creativity. I hear you say creativity and new ways of thinking, micro perspectives. That's good. I like that. All right. Okay. So Mars begins. Mars. See? I got Mars on the brain, people. I've been thinking about how's Mars retrograde. I've been thinking about a lot of things. August begins on a Saturday. And right off the bat, we are entering the month in the waxing phase of the moon. So we're going to have our full moon on the 3rd. So we were kind of in that window of where we're starting to feel the pressure and the intensity build. And we start the month right away with a pretty terse aspect between Mercury and Pluto. And Mercury is in Cancer, making an opposition to Pluto. And so this is just what happens when a planet is in the later degrees of Cancer. It has to make these oppositions to Pluto, to Jupiter, to Saturn. These are power structures, right? These are restrictions. This is all the restructuring and the things that are the systems that are breaking and the things we're rebuilding, and this is really like, an opposition is a confrontation in a sense. So seeing things may feel the need to speak, right, or articulate something, or there may be some way that you're able to take kind of what you're seeing as, representative of a more internal power structure that's going on in your mind or something. But it's a strong aspect. It doesn't feel like friendly, and it just feels kind of gnarly. Like, these Pluto oppositions are definitely, let's just say they're revelatory.
Opportunities.
Revelatory. I mean, you just got to look at things as they are. I feel like when there's an opposition, you see things so clearly, and sometimes it's hard to just admit what you're seeing, And that's also like taking responsibility, right? Because it's a lot about emotional intelligence and health as well with the Mercury in late Cancer. But, with Mercury, we're thinking a lot about, if we want to think on the bigger picture and the macro, maybe you're thinking about businesses and the media and schools and education and Mercury and all the Mercury things and the challenges that are being happening right now as we figure out how to go back to school and, how these institutions are going to run. So there's a lot of oppositions and confrontations and really trying to, that's on the macro, and then how is it showing up in your personal life? And then on Sunday, there's a Sun is in Leo, of course, and it makes a hard square to Uranus in Taurus. And that's also quite restless. It's got a restless, kind of tense, unpredictable kind of vibe. And of course, it's on the eve of the full moon that's a very kind of electric energy that's building. And so I feel like the weekend, as we just enter August, it's going to feel super buzzy and very restless. And you're really wanting to kind of notice your mind and your heart, right? Because the Sun is in Leo, which is very much about the heart and our radiance and how we fuel. The Sun is so strong in Leo, right? So your Leo house is getting this beautiful infusion of creative energy with the Sun in Leo. And then the moon in being in Aquarius for our full moon on Monday, the full moon in Aquarius is very much about the mind and the fixed mind and really that movement back and forth between them. So this is in the full moon chart on Monday the 3rd. It's when Mercury has an opposition to Saturn in that full moon. So Mercury has had the showdown with Pluto, now is confronting Daddy Saturn and the restrictions and the rules. Mars is going to be doing some of this confrontations with Saturn in a whole different way. So let me look at this full moon chart. I haven't actually have it pulled up here. Let's see. So the new moon in Aquarius, you want to look at that one first? Is that what you were talking about 6 months ago? Is that what you meant?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I meant.
You want me to look at that first and then talk about the full moon?
Sure. When's the full moon in Pisces? I thought there was going to be one in Pisces. Or is that new moon?
The beginning of September.
Oh my. Okay. I'm ahead a month.
I'm playing in so many time streams, you have to understand. I'm thinking a lot about that Pisces moon, but that's just me. But this Aquarius moon, we had Saturn, this moon. Okay, so the Aquarius new moon, let's just backtrack. January 24th, 2020. Remember how life was then. It was very different, okay? So we had the Sun and the moon at 4 degrees Aquarius, very early Aquarius. Oh yeah, we had all these new moons at 4 degrees, if I recall. We went through this 4 thing, which is really interesting. And Mercury was also in Aquarius at that time, pre-retrograde shadow. So, I'm not surprised you're thinking about Pisces because there was a Venus-Neptune conjunction in Pisces in this new moon chart. So that may be where part of that feeling is coming from. But this is, we're on a couple weeks out from the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in this chart. So we have recently had a very big cosmic reset. Saturn is separating from Pluto in this chart. So we had the big eclipse, that full moon eclipse in Cancer before this new moon. So this was the first non-eclipsed lunation from the eclipse season that bridged 2019 and 2020. So it was kind of like, oh, we're out of Cancer, Capricorn, we're in Aquarius. It feels clear, but it was also very murky. There was a lot of things happening underneath the radar, right? That I think the Venus and Neptune here in Pisces, this is kind of where Mercury ends up stationing retrograde in the general same area. So already there's these precedes of some, we need some emotional healing. There's been a lot, I feel like they haven't undergone a global trauma, you know what I mean? In any event, this new moon chart with these luminaries, sun and moon, very close to where the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction will be happening at the end of the year, just a couple of degrees off. Again, let's just remember that Saturn was in Aquarius this year for a while. This is new, a new frontier, a new territory that we're exploring, a new social experiment, shall we say. And now we are here for the full moon 6 months later. And the full moon is at 11 degrees Aquarius and the sun is at 11 degrees Leo. So they've got that kind of they've separated, they're looking at each other. And again, the mind and the heart, right? The visions, the innovations, the technology, and the living, breathing hearts, the need to be seen and loved. And, lions hang out in community. There's this big disconnect happening for so many of us around not being to be around people, not to get together, not to be in our prides and things like that. And we're really having to face that and reckon with that with this full moon, it feels like. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen just recently in the last few days, a lot of people sharing stories about family members who have committed suicide. So I think, I think that people, I feel like sometimes I live in such a bubble because I have lots of roommates. And so it's easy for me to stay at home. But when you put yourself in the situation of, say an elder or somebody who's literally just alone and not getting, any sort of, we're moving around here, whereas there are some folks I hear on the East Coast just literally haven't left their house for months and months and months. So, imagine that's super lonely and really affecting people. So, yeah, let's let this Leo bring us all out.
Self-isolation, you know what I mean? There's also a really strong T-square to Uranus in Taurus in this chart. So there's a lot, again, remember we had the sun square Uranus a couple of days, the day beforehand, which is that kind of restless energy. It's very unpredictable. It's a nervous energy. It's electrical. And with this T-square with the sun and the moon to Uranus, people really are feeling it. And there may be some out of the box behavior. People may be acting in funny ways to try to discharge what looks to me to be very uncomfortable energy. So I would say, as with any full moon, staying hydrated, getting grounded, being in nature, being in your body, trying to get into that heart space rather than getting so caught up in the, what is it feeling like? It feels like a Tetris game or a video. It just feels like some weird programming going on in the mind stream right now. And it doesn't feel like it's helping. I think it's hurting so many people. So do your best to, take care of your physical body and really address your feelings in your heart, because it's important to,
let's come together.
Well, I was listening to such a good album today. I'm just going to recommend that everybody listen to it. It's my Leo season soundtrack. It is called, I just have to find it right now. That's just the kind of mood I'm in. Where did it go? Which album? Okay, I was listening to an album by Minnie Riperton called Adventures in Paradise. It is so good. It is so Leo season. And that song in particular, but I really love that album. And she's sitting there on the cover with a beautiful, a lion too. Like it's so leonine. But music, right? Like movement,
Dance parties.
play, creativity, Leo. I know we got all this heavy Aquarius energy, but like we've got our hearts. We've got Leo wants to move. Leo wants to play. Leo, it's Leo season. It feels good. Like that. Like where can we find our Leo joy? How can we take this nervous energy and this tension and this confusion and kind of bring it into like a creative, playful game, right? It's not a weird power tripping game. We've got, that Saturn Mercury opposition. Okay, it could get a little dark, but I feel like almost like it feels like in that polarity that we're living in, it's like some kind of split screen or experience. Like you can always choose to be like really freaked out and scared and but you can also choose to be in this moment and like listen to the sounds around you and really be okay and be here, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Venus is out of her retrograde shadow in this chart. The moon is moving on a trine with Venus in Gemini. That's a nice aspect. Let's look at that. Mars is fully in its shadow. Again, there's a lot of underlying tension. So it just is what it is. And that's how we enter August. And it doesn't stop really, because on March 4th, which is the next day.
Wait, girl, we're in August, not March.
Did I say March?
Yeah.
March, August,
March,
2020.
Mars everywhere.
Hey, you want to know what my computer did today?
Okay.
I was trying to cast a chart for the new moon in Leo. I'm going to look at that chart later. And I cast it, and my software hijacked and reset the chart to July 1st, year 0001 BC.
Ooh.
I mean, okay. I don't even understand how the software did that.
Past life chart?
But I did write down the time. I'm like, I guess I should look at this chart. So, hey, at least I'm in the right year.
Hey, I mean, I saw a comet the other day that comes around every 6,800 years. I mean, I felt like I should jump up and down and do something special and make a wish. And then maybe in another few lives, I'll see it in another 6,800 years.
Yeah, I felt also like I was looking at the seed of where we are 6,800 years ago, what was happening on the planet and the programming that was being, I shall say, installed at that time around the patriarchal paradigm that was kind of starting to come online. Because I do a lot of studies in goddess mythology, and I study ancient Sumeria and things like that all the time. So I looked at that comet too, and I was like, wow, where are we now in this 6,800 year timeline? It's quite cosmic. Okay, back to Earth, Kristina. So apparently we're in August. What's that?
Comets are so pretty, though.
Comets are amazing. I'm so happy I got to see it. I'm really thrilled. I love it. It was beautiful. Right under the Big Dipper. It was so cool. I hope some of you out there got to see it. I thought it was really magnificent. Okay, it's August. Listen, we got a little change happening on Tuesday. First of all, before the fun stuff, let's just get to the hard aspect. So today is the first of 3 Mars-Jupiter squares. So listen, this is what I was saying about getting a preview of the fall struggles. Because Mars is going retrograde next month, and Mars will be retrograde for 2 months. And Mars retrogrades are not so much fun because it doesn't happen that often. We have to get very impatient during Mars retrogrades. We have to really reassess our motives and our actions, and it's very frustrating. And this particular Mars retrograde, Mars will be making these very challenging aspects, these squares, to all of those planets in late Capricorn. So we're talking about Jupiter, Pallas Athena, Pluto, and Saturn. So this is the preview where we get the first hint of potential places in your life that are going to be something you're going to be working on a few times, okay? So this first connection between Mars and Jupiter square, I think that after a full moon, with the shift of Mercury later in the day, that we can use this as an infusion of courage and strength, right? Like, because Jupiter, even though Jupiter is definitely doesn't have the upper hand in this aspect, because Jupiter is in Capricorn, which is not a happy place for Jupiter. Mars is in Aries, which is a happy place for Mars. And Mars is also in its retrograde shadow. So it's a little bit like, it's a pre-skirmish, shall we say. And so you're going to have to dig deep and find like your faith for your choices, right? Like what gives you hope and courage and faith to keep on your path, or whatever that means to you. This may be at your job. Like you might find a challenge between your work environment and your job, or your, somebody in the office and your job, or it might be between you and, your children, or who knows what it's at. But there's a place where there's going to be potentially a conflict of wills, and you might be seeing a little preview of that with this first of 3 Mars Jupiter squares. So there's going to be more to come. And then later in the day, Mercury gets the heck out of Cancer. Finally. My God, has it felt like an emo funhouse over there? Like you've seen
Wait,
it.
Mercury or Venus?
Mercury.
Okay.
Look above where you're typing.
Oh.
It says Mercury enters Leo.
Roger. Has it felt emo?
No. You're well adjusted. People have been having a hard time. The Mercury in Cancer has been difficult. It's been a lot of emotional ups and downs for people.
Yeah, I'm Pisces, so I think I get immune to all that water stuff, but I agree. I know people have a hard time with the water signs.
Yeah. So Mercury's drying out.
Okay.
Mercury's going into Leo. So there's going to be, again, a bold, Leo's got swag, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. Every Leo I know has swag.
So Mercury's getting a little swag. Mercury's getting a little bold, getting more playful, right? Less emotional, less like, heavy and intense, and more playful and light and creative, like creative thinking. Talk about your azalea. This is, we got to take advantage of this. Mercury is moving very quickly. It changes signs twice this month. So let's take advantage of this, like, beautiful Mercury and Leo kind of creative spark. How might the azalea support us in kind of the creative mind and creative speech and things like that? We're going to hear a lot of loud. People are going to be firing off. I know you're like more than already, but South Node in Sagittarius has everybody is an expert right now and knows what they need to say. But this Mercury in Leo is really going to bring a lot of boldness to language, I think. The people that have been hiding something they need to say, I think, might start saying it very loudly. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, maybe how it is when I think what I feel is like, when you take like a kombucha or a Coca-Cola or soda or something and you like shake it up, you just keep shaking it up and eventually it just like poof. It feels a little bit like, like a champagne bottle or something that got shook up and people are just ready to like poof, release a little bit of pressure. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. But azalea,
I'm just thinking about the song "All Shook Up" while you say that. I'm like singing it in my head. That's literally what's happening. If I'm looking like I'm like,
sing it out loud.
But azalea, as a way to help us express ourselves creatively, to feel more bold and brave in saying and creating and being communicative.
Yeah, there's this element of it that's like, it's not just like it's creativity, but it's also like not feeling guilty at making yourself a priority, which is kind of a Leo thing.
Leo
like
swag. That's what I'm saying.
Right? Like letting go of doubting yourself, feeling overwhelmed, or feeling selfish about having creative desires or holding back. This is the time to get out of the weeds and like allow yourself an awareness of a multiplicity of different pathways you could take, and knowing that if you want things for yourself and the world, that's not selfish. You can go after what you want. You can, whatever situation the world is in, you can still dream the highest version of what you want in life and go after it. and that there's no reason to feel guilty or selfish or hold back, just like to allow ourselves to really get in touch with this wild and beautiful world that we live in and really engage in it as an offering to the world.
Engage in it as an offering to the world. Exactly. All Leos know that their participation is an offering to the world. Like they get that.
Yeah.
For folks who aren't doing Flower Lounge, what's the secondary elixir or whatever?
Yeah. If you're not in the program, I recommend Truth Teller. That
makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Time to tell some truths. Bold, be brave enough to speak the truth. Listen, Mercury was in freaking Cancer forever. Like, you know what you need to say. You know the emotional truths, right? As long as they're coming from your heart and not from like the Leo brash ego kind of like angry little child petulance, drama, Leo drama and Leo, and like a fine Leonine performance of like a creative performance. They're different. I'm not saying to be performative. Okay, I'll shut up. But I'm excited for Leo, for words just fail me, for Mercury to change signs. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, of course, I have Jupiter right there at the beginning, so I'm looking forward to that little boost. Give me that boost, baby. All right, so we also have another sign change at the end of the week, and these are big sign changes because we've had Mercury and Venus in these signs. So Mercury has been in Cancer. Let's just find the date. Since the end of May 28th, okay? May, all of June, all of July, just felt forever. And Mercury is changing signs twice this month. So you can see the whole mercurial frequency is completely different in August than it has been in the last couple of months. And Venus has been in Gemini since April 3rd, okay, because of the Venus retrograde. And now Venus is moving into Cancer. So we're not done with the emotional landscape. But now Venus, after going through the big retrograde experience and the big review and the thinking process about relationships, about love, values, art, money, whatever your Venus agenda is, now you feel it, right? Now Venus enters into the emotional kind of territory and is looking for the emotional security. So Venus is looking for a little like security blanket, and Mercury is out there just like burning, like, getting up on soapboxes and being really loud. So, it's very, these two inner planets, they have very different vibes. So they're going to change the frequency of the general kind of consensus reality, right? The public, but they're also going to change houses in your chart. So, you've had these particular areas that have had these transits for such a long time. And now there's a new, Cancer is really not new because everything's been happening in Cancer forever. Leo, the Sun and Mercury, that's good. So that's a big change. And this means that Venus is getting kind of back to normal, right? She's out of her retrograde shadow. She's just going to start going through signs and like little 6-week journeys. So this Venus journey is through the sign of Cancer. And, we know what that looks like. We've been doing a lot of things in Cancer. We have to eventually oppose all those Capricorn planets, but not for a while. Okay, week 2. Boy, it's so much fun to be in the like random, rambly month format again. I hope it's making people happy that we're back doing this. I feel like it's more continuous and sewn together in a better way. So Mercury, Mercury's in Leo, and Mercury, we start out on a Monday with a Mercury-Uranus aspect. It's a square. Look, I think it's going to bring about innovative thinking, to be honest with you. But I do think that we really need to watch our nervous systems. I think that this looks like a nervous aspect. It looks like tension, looks like a lot of overstimulation and, irritability even, because Mercury and Uranus are both very connected to like the nervous system and the electrical system and like those ways that move in our bodies. And so there's a lot that I feel can come from the square, which can be a creative breakthrough. That's what I think. I mean, I think it can show up, and maybe showing up as like tense conversations or nervous irritability or a creative breakthrough. And you kind of get to choose, right? Because with squares, I feel like it's oftentimes revealing a pattern, like a repeating pattern or a repeating challenge. Even though this is like a one-off square, I just think it kind of does that. And so you can always make a new response, do something creative, and I'm going to opt for that. So let's think about using that energy for good, whatever that means. And then on, let's see, not Wednesday, Thursday, again, now Mars is doing the first of 3 squares to Pluto. So we had it first with Jupiter, which was this like, okay, where am I finding my faith? Where am I digging in to get the courage to like keep living my life, whatever. And the beautiful thing you said earlier, Pluto is serious power struggles and confrontations, right? A lot of times with Pluto, it feels like power, it feels very out of our control. I mean, Pluto is, after all, the lord of the underworld that like popped up out of the earth and grabbed Persephone and took her down, you know? So like there's this kind of like, you'd have no control, the lord of the underworld. So this confrontation or this power struggle, you know, Mars still feels quite brash. So you might feel like you have a lot of energy for the fight. But again, this is just the first preview of a bigger unfolding. Okay, so just pay attention to where you're running into power struggles in your life. Is it with your kids? Because, you know, dinner time, such a big deal. Such a power struggles go down at the dinner table. Is it with your boss? Is it with, I don't know, your UPS driver? You know, is it with, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like world leaders doing big decisions. It's just like in our lives, right? And what really battles are worth fighting for. Like, I think we kind of need to assess our energy levels and what is a fight that's worth fighting for. Because sometimes if it's really out of your control, it's just like, okay, yeah, you got me. And then you just, you know. So that's how I'm feeling about that. Any thoughts about that? Just in general around Katie magic? Because
the only thing that comes to mind is to just like lean into that truth teller, you know, or flower essences that help you tell the truth, because I think a lot of times we feel compressed and repressed and explosive when we don't say upfront just directly what we need or ask for what we want, or, you know, be able to clearly and gently communicate what we need. And I feel like so much of confrontation happens because we're just like bottling it all. And so if we lean into truth teller all August long, then maybe some of these power struggle situations won't seem as intensified because we'll be able to just effortlessly communicate our way through. Maybe. But it could be a good support. Otherwise, reach for the inner peace.
Reach for the inner peace. There you go. Again, this is not the first time these 2 planets are going to square off in your chart. So don't just, again, long game.
Observe it.
Yeah, it's really...
Take notes.
It is so easy sometimes in these silly little battles to really lose a lot of energy over time, you know, and I feel like Mars will be devitalized during the retrograde, where Mars in Aries is usually very vital and strong, and a retrograde is less vital, right? So we have to, this will give us a preview of, oh, I see this is how I waste my energy in this power struggle, and I could reclaim this for myself. It could be a power source, a power retrieval, right? To just not, you know, to really make sure that it's the important. Because with that Mercury in Leo, the tendency to just maybe go a little too, some people are going to go too loud. Some people really need this to be able to advocate and speak up, but some people are going to go too loud with this, you know? So it's real, it's happening. And then we keep traipsing through the month and the week, and then it's a Saturday. And not only is it Uranus stationing retrograde on Saturday, but it's also a Venus gate. So what does that mean? It means that in the Venus cycle, this is the time of the month where Venus and the balsamic moon are making their monthly conjunction. It's a very beautiful thing to look at if you're up early and you have clear skies, to go out and see the moon and Venus kissing. But this is also in the mystery school of the Venus cycle. It's also an opportunity to kind of work with your intuition and kind of clearing out your third eye area for, you know, the sixth chakra and kind of that intuitive knowing, and just kind of really think about your mind and intuition and intelligence and things like that. Uranus is stationing retrograde later in the day. So Uranus has been very still for all of these little squares that have been hitting other planets. Other planets have been having these squares like the sun and Mercury. Uranus is just like standing there, just like really, really still, but kind of electric. So Uranus retrograde, it's through, a while. Through the beginning of January, probably. I don't have the exact date at hand. Sorry.
I do. You gave it to me. It's January.
I did?
Yeah,
I typed it in the document.
January 14th, 2021.
Yeah, look at you. Look at you doing your work. Okay, good.
It's a long time. What does that mean?
It's normal. It's an outer planet. It's really no big deal, except for, Uranus is really a lot about liberation and authenticity and sudden change. So a retrograde's a review period. So again, we spoke at the beginning of this podcast about all of the change that has happened in 6 months, societally, culturally, like to our nervous systems, everything. Like it's been actually very quick to be where we are now. And so we need to kind of, again, with Uranus being very much about the electrical system in the body, it almost feels like there's some healing work and some restoration to do in the systems of the way that energy conducts and moves in our bodies and our minds. So that's kind of what it feels like. But I think we're also going to be reassessing some of the changes, and how things happen very quickly, and really maybe thinking about longer term effects about things and stuff like that. I don't know. But it's an outer planet. So it's not really like a big kind of thing that we'll feel. It's more of like a longer, like a pulse that's kind of beating in the background or underground. I guess it feels a little like the Balrog in Lord of the Rings, but not really. So don't get too scared if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, because I don't think it's really a Balrog. So that's Saturday, the Uranus retrograde. And then, we have a really here's your fun day. Fun day. Actually, it's all fun, but
fun
we
day.
have the
Sunday.
fun day. We've got, it's not all fun, but it's fun because the sun in Leo is making a trine to Mars in Aries. That's a lot of fire. I think that if we can be playful and creative, we keep talking about this, but that is always the best way to work with Leo energy, is to play and to get creative and to perform and to have fun. That's what Leo wants, right? And Mars is still at least not retrograde. So that feels like you could just feel, I don't know, it feels like some kind of game and people are like having fun playing it, and maybe it'll be healing some of our inner child, because we've also got a Venus Chiron square the same day. So Mercury's trining Mars, the sun's trining Mars, and Venus and Chiron are square. So maybe we're healing our inner child or some of the parts of ourselves that have been, a little dampened and saddened by this year. And we get to like play and kind of really kind of get out of our mindset of being heavy adults and being really responsible, and kind of just having a day where we get to, I don't know, pull out crayons, or that may be just boring for you, but we got to work with the limitations at hand.
Hula hoop.
I've been hula hooping lately. Quite a bit. And I'm also jumping on the rebounder. It's really fun.
Oh, that's really fun.
And it's just like so good. Yeah, hula hoop. Tag us in your video on Instagram when you're hula hooping for Sunday Fun Day. Sunshine Mars. That's the end of week 2.
Okay, week 3 in August. What do we got? Ooh, new moon's coming, right?
Mm-hmm. The moon's in Leo. And before the new moon, this is cool. I really like this. Okay. So Monday, Moon Day, it's the dark of the moon because it's the day before the new moon in Leo. But what we're happening at the dark of the moon is we have a Mercury Cazimi. I love saying Cazimi. And really the new moon is a Cazimi, actually, because that just means that a planet is exactly conjunct the sun. But this is an important point in the Mercury cycle of the outer conjunction. So there's more clarity, there's more insight, and there's this is, again, like it feels like a creative spark is being lit in the heart, right? That's what this feels like. There's a knowing, there's some kind of something coming in the darkness of this dark moon that is an inner light, like a little spark of joy, or some kind of project that you'll be working on for the next couple of months or something like that. It's in the Mercury cycle. And I just think it's so beautiful that it is coming here in the dark of the moon. And I guess I wrote here, fortune favors the bold. I guess I was also thinking about that Mercury Mars trine as being a pretty confident aspect. Like if you need to ask for something or there's something that you feel like you need to say, like you really might find the courage on that Sunday. Maybe you could say it in a playful way, or maybe there's a way to kind of, I don't know, language it that you're getting some insight over the weekend and maybe there's some kind of communication happening. And maybe this Kazemi is helping you get the insights that you need to kind of solve your problem. That's what that feels like. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? I like it.
Yeah.
Let's take it. And then we have the new moon on Tuesday. Let me pull up that chart. New moon in Leo.
Sounds like fun.
New moon in Leo.
I haven't told you.
What?
You know, Lisa, the founder of our sister company, Way of Chocolate?
Yes, I love Way of Chocolate. I wish I had one right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just put one in my mouth. I'm sorry.
Well, what flavor? Let me be vicarious. What is it?
Way inspired. It has the pink salt in it. But let me tell you, this is what I was so excited to tell you. And I'm sorry I interrupted you about the new moon, but
I don't care.
She's going to do a limited edition chocolate. And she's thinking about like matching them up to the Flower Revolution. But anyway, she has a new flavor. And it's my favorite all-timist. Oh my God. So good. You need some now.
What's the flavor?
I don't know if she'd mind if I tell. I think it should.
I know you're like basically outing her.
Hey, don't tell her I told you.
Okay.
Everybody listening.
Everybody out there, don't tell her that she told you.
Pretend it's a surprise. It's black sesame, like because the flowers came from Taiwan and there's a lot of black sesame, foods. There's so many health benefits to it.
I love that.
Rich in protein and fat, and then also a black lava salt. It's so good.
You see my mouth just drop open. And really, are you saying with these flower elixirs from the Flower Revolution program?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, our sessions have been inspiring the genius in her. No, I'm kidding. I've had some good talks with her. I'm really always excited about what she's up to over there. She's such a magician. I love it. Oh my goodness. Lisa.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, it'll be August. Make sure you stay in touch with wayofchocolate.com. Get on their list because I think
get on their list.
Flavor is going to go fast.
It will. And even when that flavor is gone, just like do yourself a favor and get yourself some way of chocolate. It's so, even if you don't do the chocolate meditation, God bless, because sometimes but it's really so good. I love Way Peace. I love that Earl Grey, that like lavender Earl Grey chocolate. That's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And the peppermint. I'm a sucker for peppermint. Okay. Back to our previously stationed situations. So here we are. It's where are we in time? August 18th, 2020, 7:42 p.m. We have a new moon in Leo. Ooh, so we had that Kazemi with Mercury. So Mercury, of course, is very much part of this new moon. There's a nice triple sun, moon, Mercury situation in this chart. I feel like I'm going to burp or something. 26 degrees. That's where the new moon is. So Mercury's at 28 degrees. So this late Leo territory in your chart, there's all the kind of boldness of the month and the playfulness and the curiosity and creativity. Like we're getting towards the end of Leo season in this new moon chart. It's a late Leo chart. And so you've kind of take that you've been doing and the information, the experiences, and set your intention, right? For the next 6 months of this particular area of your life or the next creative project or whatever the thing is that's your heart's desire, right? It's the time to set intentions and dream in this beautiful new moon chart with Mercury right there. Let's look around and see what else is happening. Well, there's a nice strong trine to Mars for sure. So we definitely got a boost of confidence from Mars. And really also, there's also this trine with the South Node. So I feel there's this fire kind of flow. So there really is an invitation to let go of doing things the way you've been doing them, especially if there's any kind of self-righteousness involved of like, I know the right way that you should be. Like, let's just focus on ourselves and not be so judgmental and not think that our truth is everybody else's truth, right? And like really plant a seed in the heart to be speaking courageously from the heart's truth and not the ego, which is like right underneath that, that kind of area that just gets, heart sometimes gets overpowered by the need to be right or prove something. And I feel like this new moon and this patterning that I'm seeing, we could use this Mars energy as a way to kind of cut a cord, set a new intention around some kind of way that maybe fiery heat, when we get all fired up or heated up around something, how it might move us in ways that goes really fast and it gets a little out of control and it's not necessarily helpful. Does that make sense? Kind of what I'm talking about, the energetic of that. Does that make sense to you, Katie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think that would be a nice way to kind of work with all this fire. I will also say that the asteroid Vesta has moved into Leo as well. And so at the beginning of Leo, Vesta is saying, like, what are you committing to in this creative project or this heart's wish? Like, it's going to take dedication to keep that fire burning. Vesta is a lot about commitment, about the sacred flame, about what you need to do to tend to that. And so there's a lot of fixed fire. There's a lot of fire in this chart with Vesta making some aspects to Chiron kind of loosely as well. So there's really, how are we working with fire? And yeah, new strategies coming are available if you would like to look that way. All it takes is looking for the new strategy and the new direction instead of looking backwards or, we look backwards so often. Well, it's always been this way. So maybe we could change. Yeah. Something else. Okay, that looks like a nice new moon chart. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's a little loosey-goosey around here. Ooh, then Mercury changes signs the next day. See, Mercury is moving fast, right? We had Mercury in Cancer for a few months, and now Mercury is speeding through the zodiac. This is what Mercury does. It goes really quickly, then it slows down, does this crazy retrograde, then hangs out, and then whoop, bats up. So now Mercury's in Virgo. This is through September 5th. And so we're moving towards Virgo season, and Mercury is the first one in. Mercury is happy, and productive in Virgo. Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. So this is actually kind of a moment. Listen, Virgo season only comes around once a year. This is a really good time to make use of the energy of getting organized, clearing out, getting streamlined, right? Like, I'm feeling like this would be a good time when Mercury is in Virgo to kind of do a digital or a technological kind of detox or clearing, like go through your inbox and delete, unsubscribe. Like, there's too much information coming in, and maybe there's ways that you can make more space and kind of get a little go Virgo on that and kind of clean it up so that you're curating a more supportive sourcing of information for your nervous system, because Mercury is a lot about your nervous system. Mercury is about the mind, and Mercury in Virgo wants to analyze everything. So analyze your inbox, right? Analyze your speech, analyze the ways, the habits of communication, the way your mind works, things like that. And Mercury in Virgo's hecka productive. And then the sun enters Virgo on the 22nd, right? So first Mercury goes, then the sun. This is Saturday. And I want to mention here, I'm doing a collaboration with Angie Cho of Holistic Designs. We're going to do a really cool workshop that Saturday.
Oh, cool.
We're going to do a space activation, Virgo season. I'm losing my voice.
I love Angie Cho.
And so keep your eyes out for that. Angie's on Instagram as well, but I'll be sharing more I literally can't talk. Hold on. Talk about something, Katie.
I love Angie Cho. We have interviewed her on a previous podcast, and she's got some amazing work. So that's awesome that you guys
Angie's phenomenal. I've been doing some work in my wealth area of my house, and Feng Shui, it's cool. So I'm excited because, again, Virgo season, like all solar seasons, happens once a year, right? And you can really take advantage of the energy in the sun in Virgo. I remember last year I cleaned, maybe the Mars was in Virgo too, but in any event, I cleaned, I organized, I had the energy to do it. I was like, I just got to clear this out, you know? So I'm already planning to do a big house purge. I'm kind of dreading it, but I'm committed to doing it. So what is the project that you need to get organized, right? What space can you clear? Like, how can you clear out? Because this is this late summertime. We're preparing for the equinox, is the next solar season, right? And that's this harvest time. And so when Virgo harvests, you don't just take everything, you go through and you sort through and you separate, the grain from the chaff. I don't know the right words for this. I'm not a farmer. You sort through the stones and the lentils. So you don't want to eat the stones. It's a process of actually, like, what do I need? What's going to be nourishing? What can I assimilate? And what's excess or what's not digestible? Because Virgo is also very much about organs of assimilation in your body. So what can you actually digest, right? Good time to clean out. Oh, the sun is in Virgo. Very practical, very grounded, very pragmatic, right? But Virgo is also very much about sacred service. And so I feel like you can kind of have little ceremonies with what you're doing. That's what I love about the Feng Shui, like interacting with my environment in a way of like, it's a co-creation. It's a conscious collaboration between me and the space. Like, you can do that in a Virgo way and get a lot done, but it can also be very magical, practical magic. It's practical magic time. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Do you love Virgo season?
I love Virgo season, yeah. Get lots of stuff done.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot. I'm such a lunar lady with all this moon in my life, but I've been thinking a lot. I have like a new hashtag, which is solar goals, lunar flow. Because we have to, it's like the fuel when the sun is in a sign, that solar season, that is the sun, that's where the sun's getting fuel. And you have a once in a year opportunity to really work very consciously with that solar fuel in your chart in specific life areas, right? And then you kind of flow through the lunar cycle and all the ups and downs. But I think it's helpful to consider the solar season. It's kind of a new thing. I'm having fun experimenting in my own life. So might be more around that coming in fall. Okay, that's the end of week, whatever. What week are we on?
3, so now we're on 4.
Yeah, I get to ramble more. Okay, let's see. This is the granddaddy, I feel like, of the aspects with Mars. This is the Mars-Saturn, am I right? It is. It's the first Mars-Saturn square. Listen, you're going to want to poke at, things are getting more contentious by the end of the month. Mars is getting closer to its retrograde. Mars is very much like wanting to take action, wanting change, wanting what it wants in Aries. Freedom, right? Very big for all fire signs. Saturn in Capricorn is the wall. It's the rules. It's the restrictions. It's the systems. Like, there's going to be confrontations, right? We're going to have it inside of us. We're going to have these squares with Saturn. This is a big kind of signature of the rest of the year, is Mars trying to break down the wall and Saturn trying to hold up the wall. Okay? So what that means is, with the Mars retrograde and squares, we're figuring out or reassessing the way that we're going about things in order to find a new way around the problem or a new solution to the problem, rather than battering against the wall. Like, the wall is the wall, right? So I feel like it's also almost the first quarter moon, which is a square between the sun and the moon. So there's a lot of this energy of like, I have to make a choice. I have to take action. I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling, a stall, a wall, something I don't want to be seeing or looking at. And look, it's just a signature that's going to keep playing out. So that's why I'm talking about this month being a preview of places in your life where things may just not go as quickly or as easily. There's just going to be some bumps in the road. And you might have an idea about a bump in the road with this Mars Saturn square. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But it is what it is. And again, the next day on Tuesday with that first quarter moon, we have a Mercury-Uranus trine. So I feel like that is an innovative thinking. I think, again, there's a lot of creative energy and innovation available to find a new solution, right? To come up with a new plan. The same day, Venus is opposed to Jupiter. So either things are looking really good or things didn't look as good as you thought they did. But in any event, these are the two benefics. They're kind of looking at each other, and Venus is a little emotional over there in Cancer, little heart, little like feelings, relationships. Jupiter is like, I wish I was in another sign. I wish I felt more free and less heavy here in Capricorn. I'm doing my best to keep hope alive over here in this very tense situation. So I just feel like there's just this heavy, we just got to figure out how to work with it in a new way, right? The limitations that we have in our lives. And I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm talking myself into a sad place. But as we move through the week, Venus also makes a trine to Neptune, which can feel very nice and very dreamy and very, kind of mystical and creative. It can also feel kind of maudlin, I think, depending. Like that's a lot of water. If you're feeling really confused or feeling really like you want to check out or numb out, I mean, hell, this is a great weekend to do it because Venus is trining Neptune and the moon's in Capricorn and you're going to feel all your pain. As we move through the weekend, Mercury makes a trine to Jupiter. So again, Mercury had a new idea maybe at the beginning of the week and maybe picking up some information from Jupiter that's going to make it actually come into form. It's earth energy. It's pragmatic. It's okay, what can we do with this? So again, I'm hoping that as we all navigate these pressures and these squares and these oppositions, that we're finding ways to take advantage of where things are flowing in our lives to make new connections, right? Even almost feels like new neural pathways, synapses connecting. And then the month ends, gosh golly, with Pluto and Venus opposition and a Mercury-Neptune opposition. Oh, yeah. And then it's a full moon in Pisces a couple days later. Look, the end of the month is preparing us for a big healing journey. That's what I would say. That's what it feels like to me.
That's funny. Say that again.
What?
What did you say? Preparing us for a healing journey?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I mean, full moon in Pisces on the way.
Okay, so the aspects about Venus and Mercury, tell me what that means. Pluto, Neptune, Capricorn.
Venus,
Pisces.
opposite Pluto. Power struggles in relationships. Power games, passion, challenges. Mercury and Neptune, how about we just busy ourselves in a project or, I don't know, turn on Netflix and sort through this box. I don't know. It's like a way of kind of being productive, but also a way of kind of like checking out. Like, I don't know. It feels like it could be very numbing. I think this week leading to the full moon and leading into September, I just feel like it feels a little emotionally crunchy. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. I could change my mind when I get there. As I'm reading the aspects and moving forward, I'm like, ooh, I can feel that. And that feels a little, and then we have the full moon in Pisces. So I feel like there's a preparation for a big release with the full moon. I'm not talking about the full moon because it's in September 2nd. It'll be early, but we're building toward that. And that new moon in Pisces was on February 23rd. Mercury stationed retrograde in Pisces. We have that. This was, again, a very pivotal moment in the time stream of this year, late February. And so there's a lot of healing. There's a lot of feelings to heal I believe that we're going to have an opportunity to do a big clearing with the full moon in Pisces. It feels like we're kind of building toward it with these aspects in the end of August. And a lot of, again, this is a very creative, inspiring month. There's a lot of inspiration. And I think I've said inspiration and creativity like 6 million times. So what are some other words for that, Katie, for those concepts?
What are some other words? Sensory expression. I thought a lot about, because the azalea helps you express sensorially. So like, how can you make flower offerings, or how can you, when you feel stuck or short-sighted or overwhelmed, or what you want is not attainable, like I can't travel, or I can't do this, or I can't do this. Is there a way to like put some essential oils in a diffuser and shift your environment? Is there a way to enliven the space around you with water or sound, like music, water fountains? Could you make a beautiful food or offer food to folks, get fresh flowers, or spend time in your garden? So really, if you feel like you want to be developing your creativity, or you've like hit a wall and you're spiraling into depression, you can access your creativity through sensory expression. So just like start coming down to your senses, like smell, taste, sound. How can you enliven your space and enliven your creative capacity that way? How can you fearlessly engage in devotion to your own wishes?
Yeah, courage is needed. And courage, again, heart. Cœur in French, it's courage, bravery comes from the heart. It's not from, that's where it is. And Leo season has a lot to teach us about the heart. And then Virgo season is really a lot about service and practicality and taking that devotion and making improvements that are very tangible and pragmatic in your life. Because, we may not have control over if we can travel, but we certainly have control over if we could go through the garage and clean it out. Like that's a voyage, right? That's a trip in and of itself down memory lane, maybe. But like, where do you have agency?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. What are those things that still, even after how many months, right, are still wanting to be organized? Like my closet.
I'm telling you, Virgo season, baby, it's a good time to actually really use that energy very productively and get something done. It could be a great time to do an editing project if somebody's got a big editing project to do as well, especially while Mercury is in Virgo. That'll be nice. So interesting month. Listen, Mars isn't retrograde yet. In the next couple of months, we're going to be like sucked into that swamp. So fiery swamp.
Something to look forward to.
Oil spill that's on fire. I don't know.
When does that start?
September 9th.
Oh my, next month.
Through November 13th.
Oh, okay. So we'll just enjoy August.
That's right. Enjoy August. It's not, that can be the motto. Enjoy August. Mars isn't retrograde.
Enjoy August. It gets worse.
Enjoy August, a preview of the fun to come in fall. Yeah. I mean, listen, 2020, it is challenging AF, but really it's a whole different challenge.
Good in so many ways.
So we're just in the process of something that's bigger than we knew it was. It's longer than we want it to be. And resilience and
it's showing us a lot about ourselves.
Showing us so much about ourselves. What an opportunity to learn. Right? Okay, well, I hope that those of you who are missing the month-long format are happy with this ramble of a podcast. And the rest of you who were loving the short ones, I hope
we'll be able to find the minute markers, and it will serve
the markers are helpful. And, we do our best to hold both and, right? So thanks, Katie.
Enjoy your month of both and in August.
My month of what?
Both and.
That's the North Node in Gemini. It's the time. Yes, I'll do my best. I'll enjoy. I'm liking Leo season. Leo season's fun. It's feeling good. So enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening to The Flower Lounge. I'm Katie Hess, and we'll be releasing a new podcast every Wednesday. If you like what you heard, or you know someone who might be touched by our conversation, share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe. To find out what your favorite flowers mean about you, take the quiz at lotuswei.com.